Sorry for silence. I just finished watching, well, what I'm about to review, the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view from WWE. And, I could say that the show was full of surprises. Said that really easily. Started out the night that way. Alright, let's just get to it. I'll show you why I'm being so silent in the first place. So, tonight's uh, pre-show match, the kickoff, was a six-man tag: Dolph Ziggler, Neville, and Cesaro versus Barrett, Sheamus, and Rusev. Match was rather okay. I didn't really watch it. At the time, I was cooking dinner, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to watch it. I did get to see the finish. A lot of finishers hit on Barrett with the red arrow from Neville, ending it 1, 2, 3. Not much for a pre-show match. So, was it good? I can't tell you officially. I think it looked good from when I seen the finish, so I imagine the match was rather decent. Did I care about any of those guys? Not really. Storyline wise, there's nothing to care about. So I'm just gonna move on from that. And the first match we have is the United States Open Challenge match with John Cena being the champion. And he issues the challenge, and surprise, we hear Jack Swagger's theme. Unfortunately, it's not Jack Swagger, but Zeb Coulter, which is not bad. We haven't seen him for quite a while, actually, so rather nice to see that he's still around. And he goes about saying that we need to unite, be what the United States is all about, having people from other countries as well, and unite as a team. So, or something like that. It's just rough estimation of what he just said. And he announced the opponent to be Alberto Del Rio. I marked. I really didn't expect that. It was really awesome. Because I don't think a goddamn person in the entire world thought it would be him of all people. So it is official for now. Alberto Del Rio is back. He's part of the WWE once again after being fired. He's been gone for about a year. So there you go. Match was solid. I really didn't see anything too bad. Del Rio looks a lot better than he did when he left. And the rumor was around before the event even was going to happen that Cena was going to take time off. So there was a good chance he was going to drop the title tonight. And lo and behold, that's what happened. He dropped the title to Del Rio, who is now the United States champion. And apparently, his old adversary and enemy is now his manager. Why they couldn't get Ricardo back, I have no idea. But yeah, Alberto Del Rio is back. So that started off really good for the night. It was amazing. If it kept going that way, it would have been. This would have been one of the best pay-per-views I've ever seen. Unfortunately, it didn't, but we'll get to that. So the next match we had was, what was it? It's been a couple hours since I've seen a match. Oh fuck, I can't think of the name. Uh, Let me pull it up. That the ending of the event's messing with my mind still. Um, all right, the first Hell in a Cell match, which was Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns. Match was solid. I don't think there was really that many of botches or anything like that. It wasn't as brutal as it should have been, because if it's a Hell in a Cell match, it should be fucking brutal, not meh. This one was kind of meh on the brutal side of things, but as far as these two going at it, it was really good. They broke 3 tables, I think. Couple kendo sticks, couple spears from Roman Reigns, a Superman punch. Bray Wyatt got his finisher off. Overall, it was a solid match. A lot of close calls, a lot of things happened. Um, but overall, it's a watch. I would say just it's a really good match to watch. It ends the rivalry right there. So Reigns wins clean after hitting a spear, and that was it. Now, did it need to be in a Hell in a Cell? No, it should have been an Extreme Rules match, because that's what it was. It was an Extreme Rules with a cell. I can think of another match that could have utilized the Hell in a Cell more than Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. Oh well. Overall, it was a decent match. So, going on to the next one. This is where I started seeing kind of a slowly losing its momentum the way it started off. It's the tag team champion match with the New Day champions going in to take on the Dudley Boys, the challengers. And Xavier Woods is not part of it, which means there's a good chance Dudley's have a chance of winning this now. Xavier Woods is back home, supposedly, with his ribs wrapped up, like he's injured and stuff like that. It was a good way of saying that this is a fair match. There's no interference is going to happen or anything like that. Unfortunately, this match did not end cleanly still. I don't understand how the WWE doesn't make a clean tag team match now. It's been about 4 times now that I've seen in straight where the match for the championships have not ended cleanly. This is starting to remind me too much of Seth Rollins now, And I'll get to Seth Rollins in a moment because he's ahead of this card. He's kind of a couple matches away. So, New Day don't have Xavier Woods, but they have the trombone, the broken trombone, and they set it on the downstairs decks while they wait for the Dudleys to come out. And the match was solid. They did some cool spots. No tables were used, but at one point, Kofi grabs the trombone, brings it in, throws it at Bubba Ray Dudley, and acts like he got hit. So they tried to pull an Eddie Guerrero lie, cheat, steal tactic, and he tries to sell it. The ref had his back turned so he didn't see it, and Bubba Ray's like saying, "No, I didn't hit him. He just threw this at me. I swear. I'm telling the truth." And the ref is kind of on the edge. He's thinking about ringing a bell. He's still thinking about it, and then he doesn't do it. Now, it would have been nice if that left it alone right there. Kofi's arguing with the ref. He's like, "He hit me. I swear he hit me," and tried to lie his way through it. But Bubba gets his attention, showing him the trombone, and breaks it in half, and then throws it across the ring. Well, they get Kofi set up for a 3D, only for Big E to take one of the pieces of the trombone and hit Bubba Ray with it, and then Kofi does the Trouble in Paradise, knocks him out in 1, 2, 3. New Day wins. You could say that it was won cleanly, but it really wasn't. It was just more of the ref's back was turned, no one's seen what happened, and that's it. And even if it was shown, like if the ref seen it, it would have been a disqualification. It wasn't a clean finish, is what I'll say. It was a controversial finish, but it's a light one. Because later on the night, we'll get to the controversies. So, overall, it was a relatively decent match up to that point, but it's when it really started to feel flat. It felt like, well, this is the same thing I seen last month and the month before and the month before. They can't seem to win cleanly. Why are they champion now? Oh, they're over with the crowd? Okay, then why are we not having them on face? You know, it's the same thing. Like Seth Rollins is in that same position where he's kind of over with the crowd, but at the same time not because he kind of does these stupid finishes all the time, and he's been champion for like fucking 10 months. It feels longer than that, but it's not really. He's been champion since WrestleMania 31. Anyway, moving on. So tag team championship was a relatively decent match. I wish it didn't end it that way though. I'm getting kind of tired of that finish, and apparently they have to keep it going till TLC, which part of me is saying why TLC. Oh well. So this brings me up to the Divas Championship match of Divas Champion Charlotte taking on Nikki Bella. This is when it really broke it down. Like this pay-per-view kind of slowed down so horribly that I really didn't. I got bored. I was starting to get bored at that point. There was even a point where they botched not once, but I think twice. One was a top rope botch, where I'm assuming it wasn't supposed to go that way, because it looked like Nikki was gonna try to do I don't know what the move is called, a backdrop from the top second rope onto Charlotte, who's all standing on the top rope. But Charlotte manages to counter it, but she lands kind of awkwardly. She almost looks like she's landed on her head, but she doesn't. She doesn't hit it at all after replay. But Nikki she just flapped, fell right on her back. And then there was a point where Nikki uses the Alabama Slam on the outside of the ring on Charlotte, who hits about the top shoulders to the collar area of her back, rolls her back in the ring, gets ready for the rack attack for it to be countered by Charlotte into the figure eight, which would look like a modified version of the figure eight, because it didn't look like the original version. And she wins by tap out. We see Paige for some reason and Becky storming down the ring to celebrate Charlotte's win. Now, the storyline is that Paige is actually sorry for what she did at the start of the month, right after Night of Champions. So there's a storyline there. There's a storyline that involves Natalya, which she was not a factor in this whole event, and I guess Paige is trying to take out Becky Lynch, kind of get her out of that party for some reason. I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, it was just kind of a lackluster match. I mean, there was a couple good spots out of it, but there was a couple botched moves as well. It could have been better. And I think this is more on the part of Nikki Bella does not know how to wrestle as good as Charlotte does. Charlotte's a better wrestler. Sorry. Hands down. Now, is she worthy of being Divas Champion? I cannot say, but at the same time, Charlotte's a better wrestler, and she's proven that in NXT. So, fucking hair. We move on, and we have the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, that match happens before the Intercontinental, which is fairly weird, to be honest. I understand that they needed a piss break before Lesnar and Undertaker, but yeah. World Champion match happens, then the Intercontinental Champion afterwards. Whatever. So Seth Rollins takes on Kane. And the match was what you would expect Kane to be in. and Kane loses. That's it. He loses to a pedigree. It's like every Kane match ever. There really isn't much to talk about. There's no spots that are really mentionable. It was good, but it's good on the average level. It was an average match. The stipulation was that if Kane lost, Corporate Kane is no longer director of operations, like he was acting like one for the last few months. Um, if Seth loses, he loses the title, you know. But yeah, that was it. It was rather meh. What else can I say? Um, like I'll state this just one last time. There was nothing going into this match that made it worth watching, and that's the problem. They just kind of threw it in. They knew that Hell in a Cell, Seth Rollins had really no opponents. I think part of me thinks is that they originally were gonna have Sting for this match, kind of get his rematch. Um, but with him injured, they had to think quick. And Kane just happened to be there, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what the storyline was going into this because it really didn't feel like Kane should have been there. So yeah, this meh. Um, so then we get to what is usually the cool off match, or what people would also call the piss break match, or whatever match that no one cares about. No one really wants to be around to watch it. They want to go get an intermission before you get to the big match of the night, the main event. So you have Intercontinental Champion Kevin Owens taking on Ryback. This is a cool off match, by the way. A championship match is a cool off match. Part of me thinks that they're missing a match in this card, or they had a fuck up with the card match. And it's really easy to tell. Like, they could have put the Intercontinental Champion match earlier in the card. And I think that's what they were planning to do. I honestly think because Dean Ambrose is there. I remember a couple weeks ago that he and Randy Orton were going to have a match with the rest of the Wyatts. And then Randy Orton got injured, supposedly. So I, I, they had to put a match somewhere. So Intercontinental Champion Kevin Owens beats Ryback cleanly. There's no controversy. There's nothing that changes anything. He wins cleanly. What else do I say about this? It was a relatively basic match because it was a cool off match. There was nothing that stole the show out of it, you know? So, yeah. Again, the second half of this pay per view got boring quick. And so all I was looking forward to was Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker at this point. So we had the second Hell in a Cell match, Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker, the main event. And you notice I'm going through all these matches very quickly. It's because most of these matches ended very quickly. The longest so far up to this point, Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt. That's it. And right now, that would be the only watchable. Except for maybe the United States Championship Open Challenge. Those were the only two. Like the start of this show, the first two matches are the only watchable ones, and they are even with the Brock Lesnar match, and I'll get to that in a moment. If you're gonna watch this pay per view, you watch the first two matches and you script the rest of it. And just read up results because you could literally do that. It really wasn't worth watching. It felt like the next four matches before the main event were just cool off matches. They were boring. They were average. They were relatively okay. But nothing really stood out. Like the Divas Championship match may have had some standout spots, but the botches kind of ruined it. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Putting off the Brock Lesnar Undertaker match. I shouldn't be, because this is what kind of made me upset. So the match started off great. Lesnar and Taker showing off some speed, even for his age. Well, both their ages. And for a long time, like Undertaker had an upper hand. He was beating down Brock. Brock came back, started doing the same thing. It was a great match at the start of it. And then it suddenly stopped. Why? 3 minutes into the match, Brock Lesnar is busted open. On top of his skull, bleeding badly. Doctors had to come in to stop the match and get the blood out of his eyes. Very reminiscent to the first time these two battled in a cell. Yeah, that's the word I was trying to go with. Hell in a Cell. There we go. Taker then, when the match restarted, it was suddenly Brock was getting ahead and he was beating down Undertaker, and it just kind of went back and forth up to till Brock hit 3 suplexes in a row, then an F5, and then Taker kicked out. Brock is a little upset. He grabs a chair, but they stop the match because blood is getting back in his eyes. And he says, hell no, throws the dock away, and goes and hits another F5 on Undertaker, who proceeds to kick out of that one. So Brock's upset, and he starts tearing the ring to expose what they use to make the ring. You know, like they have the mat, and they have the top layer, which is what we call the mat, and then underneath there's another mat of cushion, and then there's wood underneath that. And that's what you see, only to have Undertaker rise up, choke slam Brock Lesnar on said wood, and then tombstone him, which I am supposedly thinking he meant to hit the wood, but he missed it by maybe 6 inches. And Lesnar kicks out. We have a lot of like taunting going around from Undertaker. He does his thing right here, and as he goes in to try to get Lesnar hits him right. Hits him with a low blow, which is poetic justice, by the way, considering the storyline. It made sense. But he hits the F5 onto the wood. 1, 2, 3. Lesnar wins. I'm sorry, I don't like this match. Because, A, it was fast. It was way too fast for its own good. This match should have been about 30 minutes, and it was like 20 minutes top on the top end. It was a very quick match, excluding the stopping. Secondly, this is a match that Undertaker needed to win, especially after the controversy over at SummerSlam. It just, honestly, Taker has only won once, and that was the controversial match at SummerSlam against Brock Lesnar out of his entire career. They've had, up to this point, 8 matches against each other, and Lesnar's won 7 of them now. 1 loss, which was controversial. Yeah, you're not making Taker look strong in this. So, when I went into this match, I was expecting Undertaker to win. Because he lost the first time in the Hell in a Cell against Brock. So he's got to get that Hell in a Cell blemish off of him. On top of this, you have the Shriek thing. And on top of that, the controversial finish over on SummerSlam, stacking all this up. You know, it made sense for Taker to win, in my opinion. It just did. It's the same thing like Cena has got only 1 win against Brock. And they've taken on each other like 7 or 8 times as well. Brock is already strong. We've known this for at least 2 years now. We know that he can break arms. We know that he can beat Triple H, John Cena, and Undertaker fairly. We know he can win cleanly and do it very well. He's beaten every goddamn superstar on the roster by now. Why can't he lose? My problem is that the way they feel, the way I feel about Brock Lesnar right now is that they're trying to make him a modern day Goldberg, in the sense that Goldberg back in WCW was a supposedly 173 and 0 streak guy before he made his first loss, which was over shenanigans, by the way. Um, I'm sorry, but that type of streak should never happen again. And the reason why it was great for Goldberg but not for Lesnar is because Goldberg was built to be this unstoppable force. He was built like that. Lesnar was never built like that. In the last 3 years, he has been like that. That's how they built him in the story right now. But at the time, in comparison to Goldberg, Goldberg managed to do it every single week, almost every single day. That's how that works. It works very well to make a great storyline come out of it. When you have Brock Lesnar, who's gone for months on end and then comes back for a match and then goes back to being gone for months on end, it doesn't work as well. It's not as effective. And it doesn't make him look strong. It makes him look meh. We know that he's strong freakishly. We know that he looks it. We know that he sounds it. And we know that he has the abilities to become unstoppable. But when you have Taker, who's had more rest than Brock Lesnar in the last 2 years, lose when he looks far better than his opponent, or is doing everything far better than his opponent, then I feel that there's something amiss. I feel that that's wrong to do. At no point does Lesnar need to look strong anymore. He's already been built up this for 3 years. Why are you having him build strong still? Why is he going over? But that's not why I'm upset. Match is over. They raise the cage. Lesnar is crawling out of the ring. Like, he literally got his ass beat to win this. So at one point, Lesnar realized that he went to hell and came out alive, but barely. So there might be some storyline still going there. I don't know. But it still entered controversial. It wasn't totally clean, but it was clean enough, considering it was a Hell in a Cell match. Thank you, Kit. So Lesnar and Heyman are gone. They're out of the arena, supposedly. Taker takes his time. He sits up, he stands up, and he's about to do his praise to the audience, which is his well-known thing, until we get the Wyatt family. Because they needed to have a feud with The Undertaker still. The one thing I always was upset about WrestleMania 31 was Bray Wyatt taking on Undertaker. It made no sense on paper. Like, it made sense in terms of a story, but they had a month to do it. It didn't need to happen. It had a month to build that whole storyline. And it was a one-sided storyline, because we didn't see Taker until WrestleMania 31. So, I don't know if they're trying to continue off of that. It feels like they're trying to. Why the Wyatt family decided to attack Undertaker and then take him from the ring to the back of the arena, I have no fucking clue. Obviously, the Roman Reigns Bray Wyatt match, it ended cleanly, but I thought there was going to be still more storyline going with it. If you were going to have Undertaker retire tonight, then don't have Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family come out and interrupt his thank you to the fans. Ever. Considering that Undertaker's been in this business for well over 25 years. Especially with the gimmick itself being about 25 years as its own thing since 91. And they're going to build up Survivor Series was an Undertaker theme, which is why I'm thinking the Wyatt family is going to be in a Survivor Series style match against whoever the fuck is over here. It's probably Undertaker's team or something like that. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what they're planning to do with this. I'll wait and see. Obviously, I think Kane is going to be a part of it. It would make the most sense. But I don't know what they're planning to do. Like, I literally have no idea if they're trying to utilize Taker for another reason, if they're going to bring in Sting and make him a utilize, like he's been controlling the Wyatt family for all this time, or so. I don't know what the storyline is. And it just doesn't make sense now. They could have easily done this on Raw. Honestly. Just purely honest. This is a storyline that could be on Raw and explained a lot better as a start. Because the reason I'd say this is that open Raw with Undertaker coming out saying his thank you, about to retire because he lost to Lesnar. And then have Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family come after him. It would have been a better storyline. That way, when they go in the back, we have this build to Survivor Series. And it slowly gets built. So then you're trying to figure out... That was my phone. So you have this build-up going into Survivor Series where it's supposed to be Undertaker's theme. There's a thank you for 25 years of The Undertaker. And you're kind of blowing it. Because now it seems like they're trying to put Undertaker with the Wyatt family, which... Why in the fuck would you do that? Unless you're going to make the Ministry of Darkness 2.0, which, by the way, you shouldn't fucking do, especially in Undertaker's career right now. There's really no need. I don't see this feud working out the way they might be thinking it. Now, not to say that Undertaker still can't go. He looks freaking better than he did in WrestleMania 30. But I'm just saying, where is this going to end? I know that they needed Wyatt to have a feud with something. But they could have easily continued the feud with Kane because that never got resolved in the first place. They could have had a feud with a lot of other potential factions. You know, it could still be a part of the Shield faction thing too. You know, I don't know. I understand they just wanted to get him away from Bray Wyatt away from freaking Roman Reigns because they had that for way too longer than it should have ever been. Oh well. Point is, I don't see why the Wyatts came out tonight. They could have done it tomorrow and it would have been a better storyline in retrospect. It would have been better built. Anyway, I know this review is kind of going to be short. There really wasn't much to talk about with this whole Hell in a Cell. Most of the matches were rather average to meh levels. They could have been easily just slid off the card, and all we would have to worry is the first two matches of the night. And we would have probably been entertained more. So, yeah, they got to fill out a card, though. Most of the storylines kind of sucked, anyway. Anyways, I do hope you enjoyed this review. Normally, I am wearing my glasses, but I didn't feel like wearing them today. I don't always have to wear them. And I know my hair is a mess. It's getting longer. I normally don't get a haircut till the spring anyway, though. Why does my... Okay, it was just an email. I thought maybe it was a message. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, subscribe down. Yeah, if you have anything to say about this, you could leave a comment down there. And I'll try to explain it better to you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Anyways, good night.